Well, here we go again. Weird Warren's video countdown.
Yes.
I see why Uncle Curtis is always parked in his chair. I could get used to this right here.
Y'all don't have no crayon apple juice? This definitely look like a house. They got some crayon apple juice in it.
Allen Payne has lived one of Hollywood's most mysterious lives, and the secrets he's kept hidden for decades are finally coming to light. What really happened when he disappeared from our screens reveals a truth darker than anyone imagined.
A lot has happened to me, for me, in those years.
The man who gave us some of the most iconic characters in Black cinema has been hiding secrets about sexuality rumors, family tragedies, and industry betrayals that shaped his entire career.
My family, they deteriorated. They began passing away as an early child. So my mission was, my first initial mission was to stay alive.
This is the untold story of Allen Payne's secret life and why he chose silence over stardom. So let's get into it. Allen Roberts was born on July 7, 1968, in the heart of Harlem, New York City, during one of the neighborhood's most turbulent periods. Growing up in an environment where poverty and crime were daily realities, young Allen seemed destined for a path that would lead anywhere but Hollywood stardom. His early years were marked by trouble and rebellion. Allen was branded a troublemaker in high school, partly due to his views and his affinity toward various criminal gangs that dominated his neighborhood. The streets of Harlem in the 1970s and 80s offered few positive outlets for young black men, and Allen was dangerously close to becoming another statistic. The turning point came when his parents, recognizing the dangerous trajectory their son was on, enrolled him in acting classes at a local youth club. What started as an attempt to keep him off the streets became the discovery of a passion that would transform his life completely. Allen found something in acting that he had never experienced before, a way to channel his intensity and street-smart intelligence into something productive. The method acting technique taught at the actor's studio particularly resonated with him, demanding the kind of emotional depth and authenticity that his background had given him in abundance. His family and friends initially weren't supportive of his newfound passion. They repeatedly told him to get a grip on reality, viewing his acting aspirations as an unrealistic fantasy for a kid from their neighborhood. But Allen persevered, driven by an internal conviction that this was his path out of a life that seemed predetermined. His first professional work came through commercials and off-Broadway plays, small steps that gradually built his confidence and skills. In 1989, at age 21, he landed his first film role in Rooftops, a small movie that most people would forget, but for Allen, it represented proof that his dreams weren't impossible. The following year brought the opportunity that would change everything: a recurring role on The Cosby Show as Lance Rodman, the boyfriend of Charmaine.
Y'all don't have no crayon apple juice? This definitely look like a house. They got some crayon apple juice in it.
The show, then one of the biggest hits on television, provided Allen with the exposure and credibility he needed to be taken seriously as an actor. His portrayal of Lance was notable for bringing an authentic street edge to the traditionally clean-cut world of the Cosby universe. Allen's natural charisma and ability to make even small roles memorable caught the attention of casting directors who were looking for actors who could bring real authenticity to urban stories. By 1991, Allen was positioned for his breakthrough role, one that would establish him as one of the most compelling young actors of his generation. But with success would come challenges that would test his resolve and force him to make choices about the kind of career and life he wanted to build. In 1991, Allen Payne landed the role that would define his career and establish him as one of the most compelling actors of his generation. Cast as Gerald G. Money Wells in Mario Van Peebles' New Jack City, Allen brought a raw authenticity to the character that drew from his own experiences growing up in Harlem.
Yeah, I'm the man. I was 11, you was 13. We was the baddest backcourt, and each one, he's one.
The film, starring Wesley Snipes as drug kingpin Nino Brown, was a landmark in black cinema, addressing the crack epidemic and urban violence with an unflinching realism that mainstream Hollywood had avoided. Allen's portrayal of G-Money, Nino's ambitious lieutenant whose loyalty ultimately becomes his downfall, was both magnetic and tragic. What made Allen's performance particularly powerful was his ability to tap into the character's complexity. G-Money wasn't just a villain. He was a product of his environment, someone whose intelligence and charisma had been channeled into the drug trade because legitimate opportunities seemed impossible to attain. The success of New Jack City catapulted Allen into the upper tier of young black actors, alongside Wesley Snipes, Ice-T, and Chris Rock, who also appeared in the film. The movie's cultural impact was enormous, and Allen found himself recognized as someone who could bring authentic street credibility to Hollywood productions. His next significant role came in 1994 with Jason's Lyric, where he played the titular character opposite Jada Pinkett Smith.
1 minute you're dissing me, next minute you're showing me things I ain't never seen before.
The romantic drama allowed Allen to showcase his range, playing a young man trying to escape the violence and trauma of his Houston neighborhood while pursuing love and a better life. Jason's Lyric proved that Allen could carry a film as a leading man and handle complex emotional material with the same skill he brought to tougher urban dramas. The chemistry between him and Pinkett Smith was undeniable, and the film became a beloved entry in the canon of black romantic dramas. Throughout the mid-1990s, Allen continued building his filmography with roles in CB4, The Walking Dead, and Vampire in Brooklyn. Each project showcased different aspects of his talent, from comedy to military drama to horror. He was establishing himself as a versatile actor who could bring depth and authenticity to any genre.
Give him mouth to mouth. Not me. Not with that green slime drilling out his mouth.
His success during this period was built on a foundation of hard work and careful role selection. Allen turned down opportunities that didn't align with his values, including a regular role on A Different World, because he was committed to film work that he felt could make a more significant impact. By the late 1990s, Allen Payne was positioned as one of Hollywood's most promising black actors, someone who combined commercial appeal with artistic integrity. But the entertainment industry's treatment of black actors, particularly those who maintained their independence and authenticity, would soon present challenges that would test his resolve and ultimately change the direction of his career. When Allen Payne joined the cast of Tyler Perry's House of Pain in 2006, it seemed like a natural evolution of his career. The show offered him the opportunity to play C.J. Payne, a firefighter and family man, in what would become one of the most successful sitcoms on television.
I don't think I got my invitation to the party.
Oh yeah, I'm busted.
The show was a ratings juggernaut, running for 8 seasons and making Payne a household name once again. But in 2012, everything changed. After House of Pain wrapped its original run, Allen Payne disappeared from the public eye. No interviews, no new projects, no red carpet appearances. It was as if he had vanished overnight. Industry whispers offered several explanations. Some said Payne had simply stepped away to rest after years of intense work. Others speculated about more troubling reasons for his retreat, with one former crew member allegedly claiming that Payne walked off set during a tense rehearsal. Years passed with no word from the actor. Then, in 2018, Payne made an unexpected return, reprising his role as CJ in a House of Pain revival. Fans were thrilled, but they couldn't help noticing something had changed. Viewers described his demeanor as quieter, more reserved, even emotionally flat. His eyes, once filled with charisma and energy, now seemed to carry a heaviness that couldn't be ignored. Was this simply the mark of a man who had matured and found inner peace? Or was there something deeper, something unspoken lurking beneath the surface. And it wasn't just Allen's appearance that caught people's attention. It was his demeanor. In interviews and on screen, he seemed quieter, almost distant. Viewers described him as emotionally flat. His signature spark noticeably dimmed. For some, this was just a sign of maturity. After all, 6 years had passed since his last appearance. But for others, it was a red flag. Whispers started spreading about why Payne had disappeared in the first place, and why he now seemed so guarded. Much of the speculation centered on Tyler Perry's so-called inner circle. Perry is known for working repeatedly with a select group of actors, rewarding loyalty with consistent roles across his sprawling media empire. Stars like Cassie Davis and LaVan Davis became staples in Perry's projects, always present, always visible. But Allen Payne was different. Even at the height of House of Payne's success, Payne rarely engaged in the press circuits or public appearances that other cast members embraced. While his co-stars spoke often about Perry's mentorship and generosity, Payne maintained a noticeable distance. Some interpreted this as professionalism, others as discomfort.
A lot has happened to me, for me, in those years. I shot a TV series with Tyler for 20 years,
Wow.
Rumors began circulating that those outside Perry's favorite circle often found themselves frozen out of future opportunities. Fans pointed to actors who disappeared after a single Perry project, sparking theories about unspoken rules and power dynamics. Payne's 6-year hiatus only added fuel to the fire. One theory suggested that Payne's absence wasn't entirely voluntary. Some believed he may have clashed with Perry behind the scenes. A now-deleted post from a person claiming to have been on set alleged that Payne once had a heated argument during rehearsals, storming off after refusing to comply with a particular request. While unverified, the story spread quickly among fans already eager for answers. And then there were the darker rumors. The idea that Perry's tight-knit circle wasn't just about loyalty, but about compliance, that those unwilling to play by unspoken rules might be quietly removed. Allen Payne never spoke publicly about such issues, but his silence didn't stop fans from drawing their own conclusions. Years later, Derek Dixon, an actor from Perry's The Oval and Ruthless, filed a $260 million lawsuit accusing Perry of harassment and retaliation.
Now, actor and filmmaker Tyler Perry sued for $260 million over sexual harassment allegations. The complaint filed in Los Angeles accuses Perry of creating a, quote, coercive, sexually exploitative dynamic with actor Derek Dixon.
Dixon's lawsuit wasn't vague or speculative. It outlined a chilling timeline, from the first time Perry allegedly picked him out of a crowd in 2019, to the alleged groping incident in 2021, and all the manipulative behavior in between. According to the filing, their relationship began like so many Hollywood stories do, an opportunity. Perry reportedly noticed Dixon at an event, struck up a conversation, and soon after offered him a minor role on Ruthless. It seemed like a golden ticket, but what started as mentorship allegedly turned into grooming. Dixon claimed that in 2020, he was invited to Perry's Atlanta home. After drinking too much, he passed out in a guest room, only to wake up with Perry allegedly touching his thigh. That was the moment things changed. The worst moment, according to Dixon, came in June 2021. While staying in a guest house connected to Perry's property, he claims Perry entered, pulled down his underwear, groped him, and said, "Relax, and just let it happen."
Then he claims that while he was asleep, Perry climbed into bed with him and tried to initiate sex. Dixon says he tried to distance himself from Perry, but he was offered a role on Perry's show, The Oval.
Dixon said he panicked, changed the subject, tried to diffuse it without escalating. But from that moment, he said he lived in fear, trying to navigate a working relationship with someone he believed had the power to end his career overnight. By 2024, Dixon says he could no longer take it. He filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and quit the Oval, calling the environment intolerable. Tyler Perry's attorney, Matthew Boyd, issued a firm denial. He called the lawsuit a baseless shakedown. But he didn't deny the texts were real. He didn't deny the timeline. And he offered no explanation for why multiple actors across different time periods were telling similar stories. Many couldn't help but think back to Payne's quiet exit from House of Payne. Was this just coincidence, or had Payne's experience been an early warning sign? As more details about Perry's alleged conduct emerged, fans began re-examining Allen Payne's journey. Not just his absence, but his entire time working within Perry's world. For Allen Payne, success in Hollywood didn't shield him from life's hardest blows. Behind the fame of New Jack City and the warmth of House of Payne was a man carrying an unimaginable weight. In rare interviews, Payne revealed that his family had been ravaged by chronic diseases. He spoke of standing by helplessly as loved ones grew sick and eventually passed away.
My family, they deteriorated. They began passing away as an early child. So my mission was, my first initial mission was to stay alive.
This realization marked the start of a journey far removed from red carpets and camera flashes. Payne immersed himself in health and wellness, beginning with small steps like cutting meat from his diet. Over time, those steps became a transformation. Vegetarianism, raw veganism, and even exploring ancient healing practices. But Payne's journey wasn't only physical, it was deeply spiritual. Faith became his anchor as he navigated grief, isolation, and a growing disillusionment with the Hollywood machine. He began speaking at wellness events and charities, sharing knowledge he had once guarded for himself. To his fans, Payne's absence from Hollywood seemed to make sense now. But for others, the sudden shift felt like a man trying to recover from something unspeakable. When Allen Payne finally decided to return to acting in 2018, he discovered that 6 years away from Hollywood had fundamentally changed his position in the industry. His comeback began with a reprisal of his C.J. Payne role in Tyler Perry's spin-off series, The Paynes. But what should have been a triumphant return instead revealed how thoroughly he had been marginalized during his absence.
Oh, Curtis, Aunt Ella is not gonna go for this.
Yes, you will. You'll see.
I'm telling you now.
The Paynes was supposed to be Allen's vehicle for re-establishing himself in the television landscape, but the show faced immediate problems. Allen appeared in only the first 3 episodes before the series was restructured, leading many to speculate about behind-the-scenes conflicts that had led to his reduced involvement. Industry sources suggested that Allen's time away had made him even more unwilling to compromise on creative matters, while the entertainment landscape had become even more focused on commercial formulas and established brands. The collision between his desire for authentic storytelling and the industry's preference for safe, profitable content created immediate tensions. Tyler Perry's response to Allen's return was particularly telling. Rather than embracing the veteran actor's experience and insights, Perry seemed determined to maintain the same level of control over his productions that had characterized their previous working relationship. This dynamic effectively sidelined Allen even within his own comeback vehicle. The failure of The Paynes after just 1 season was attributed to various factors, but industry insiders noted that Allen's limited involvement and apparent dissatisfaction with the direction of the show contributed to its lack of energy and authenticity. The series felt like a cash grab rather than a genuine continuation of the beloved characters from House of Payne. Allen's attempts to find other work during this period revealed how much the industry had changed during his absence. In 2020, when Allen Payne returned to the rebooted House of Payne, he was a different man than the actor who had left 8 years earlier. His experience with grief, industry politics, and personal growth had given him a perspective that few in Hollywood possessed, but it had also left him increasingly isolated from an industry that values compliance over authenticity. Allen's current reality is that of an actor who has chosen survival over stardom. At 56, he continues to work on House of Payne, now in its 11th season. But his relationship with the production and with Tyler Perry remains complex and carefully managed. Industry sources suggest that Allen has learned to pick his battles, focusing on his performance while avoiding the creative conflicts that once defined his working relationships. The privacy that Allen has maintained throughout his career has become even more pronounced. He still refuses to engage with social media, gives virtually no interviews, and maintains strict boundaries between his public and private lives. This approach has protected him from much of the toxic attention that social media can generate, but it has also made him seem increasingly disconnected from contemporary entertainment culture. Allen Payne's story represents a unique path in Hollywood, an actor who has survived by choosing authenticity over acceptance, privacy over publicity, and personal growth over professional advancement. His secret life off-camera isn't filled with scandals or hidden vices, but with the quiet determination of someone who has learned that, in the entertainment industry, sometimes the only way to win is to refuse to play the game. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.